Today, I'm going to be ranking every character in Genshin Impact based off of how fun they are to play. A lot of people only do tier lists based off of characters' power level. Can that add into a character's fun factor? Yes, but is it directly tied into that? No. Is that this is my opinion, and you might not agree entirely with what I have to say. It is okay to disagree. This is my own personal list, and without any further ado, let's get right into it. Traveler, who honestly I think is a character that as we progress through the game, they'll get better and more interactive. The devs will learn what we enjoy, and hopefully will make something that's better than what it currently is. Although Dendro Traveler is quite strong, it's kind of just a skill burst spot, and you don't really do too much. But I'll put them in honestly B tier because Geo is good, the rocks, and then Animo has the tornado. I think Albedo's a little similar with the dropping down stuff and swapping off field, but he does have the cool effect of the elevator. As for Alhaitham, I got a lot of comments on the last video, and I think the thing is the difference between Keqing and Alhaitham is the fact that you can swap off field with her and still be moving around your other characters, whereas Alhaitham, you are locked in unless you want to lose his stacks, which is something that's very important because the higher the stacks, the higher damage, and his abilities do have a fairly high cooldown, making it to where you do not want to swap off. Yes, he's cool. He has the really good slashes and the dual sword thing he's got going on. So he's either high B tier or very low A tier. Amber, honestly, once you get her, I think it's her C2 with the Baron Bunny and you can shoot him, that's kind of fun. Even though she isn't that great, doesn't do a lot of damage, you know, so on and so forth, it's still really fun to do that, even though it's kind of a meme and a little goofy. So I'll put her in C tier because she's not that great, but it is fun. Actually, you know what, bottom B tier. As for Arataki Ito, honestly, I think I had to put this character way up there. Something about throwing a bowl and his wham bam charge attacks, his big giant, I don't even know what his melee is called, S tier for sure. One of the best characters in the game based off of his character himself, his personality, his looks. Honestly, phenomenal character. Arlecchino, I think I'm gonna put her somewhere in A tier. It'll probably end up being low A tier, but the thing is her burst is really cool, and I like the kind of semi-teleport of her skill. It's super satisfying, but then from there, once you consume the stacks and you have the bond of life, she honestly doesn't feel much outside from her cool animations. It's kind of just spam normal attacks. Ayaka, I might be a little biased, but Ayaka is a character that you do everything with. And yes, I know what I said about Alhaitham, but with Ayaka, you do swap a little bit more, getting your Shenhe burst up, readjusting your cooldowns on other characters, letting your burst do damage, grouping all the enemies with Kazuha, whatever it may be, however you're playing her. It's a little more interactive and more flexible in comparison. And I think another A tier has got to be Ayato. Simply because when you pop his skill and you're doing those slashes and he's kind of doing the slight glitch when he's attacking, it's so satisfying, cleaving all of the enemies, hitting all of them, and his burst, the raindrops going throughout. I think he's a very fun character. Baiju, I think he's also going to be B tier. There's something cool with his skill, and it kind of just like goes around, comes back, and although he's kind of just a off-field button pressing swap off, his abilities are visually cool, and Dendro is just generally a fun element anyway, so I think that adds to it. Now we can go two routes here. We can go the route of Barbara as a skill bot, a healer, or we can go something with the Shanyun Barbara nuke. Now if we are nuking with Shanyun and doing 100k plus with our plunges, that's a lot of fun. Seeing big number, Barbara, crazy, right? And if Barbara's just used for her skill, for whether it be bloom, freeze, whatever, it's kind of boring. Her animations are kind of cool, in my opinion, her bursts, but honestly, a lot of people are going to see this with the A tier and go, what are you talking about? But I'm going to stand by that. Beidou, I think I'm going to put her bottom of A tier because her parry and the fact that her burst chains and her animations on her normal attacks are a little clunky, but something about playing Beidou is just so satisfying, right? Getting that perfect parry, doing that extra bit of damage, is just so nice. Benny Boy, I think I'm gonna have to put him B tier because even though he is super meta and he's very strong, he's kind of a character that you just use your skill, pop your burst, and then you swap into another character to get the benefits out of him. Alongside Beidou is another parry character who has similar strengths in that guard, but also is kind of weak in her own animations and anything outside of the parry and the bubble explosion from her burst. It's a little lackluster in my opinion. Charlotte, I think C tier. She has has the camera like Nahida, but it's so weak and it has the lock on and everything else. And she's kind of just a skill and burst bot. Chevus. Honestly, this character, I think, might be top B tier, low A. Something about using her rifle and seeing all the explosions with her burst and everything in combination. I don't know what it is. And also being able to use a true overload team with her just makes her so incredibly fun. No one really does it like her. Chiori. Honestly, haven't played this character enough, but I think from what I've seen, she's kind of like an albedo, but she also has some potential normal attacks, and her burst, I believe, is kind of cool. So I think I'm going to put her in B tier, but she's more of an off-field character, what I believe. And I think she has cool animations. Her character looks cool. I'll put her top B tier. And I know, I'm gonna butcher it. Chlorine. This character, from what I've seen, is like the peak of my amusement, the peak of my excitement. Something about the gun, maybe it's because I'm American, but the rapid fire hits, the slight teleporting, the quick animations, it's so unbelievably satisfying. And I think I need to get her. I'm going to have to get this character. She's so clean. She'll be able to be used in a lot of different teams, for the most part. Animation, her design, the rapid fire. I don't think I can give enough praise to this character. Top A tier. Cole has unique animations and her burst is cool with the little popping up. I think they're rabbits. I can't remember, honestly. But other than that, she's kind of a skill burst bot. I know. Because you have to stay on field for so incredibly long that this character is going to go B tier. Can't swap off. You can't reset your cooldowns. You have to stay on the character or else you lose out on such an insane amount of your, but he is so high in the sense of B tier because of his unique skill and the interaction that has. Now, Thea, I would say C tier. She is quite horrible and she's pretty basic in you slam your skill down and maybe use your burst. But over time, her teams have gotten better with her Neuvillette team, Furina teams, and there's been some burn melt occasions where you can use her. So honestly, I think I'm gonna, and I know I'm gonna hear it for this one, I'm gonna put her in B tier because of the fact that she has gotten a role in somebody to give resistance to interruption, and for somebody like Neuvillette, add that extra reaction damage in, which buffs him a lot. Chongyun, a lot of the teams that he's in are Shenhe teams, or you can actually do reverse melt teams. He does a decent amount of damage, and something about his animations, the slamming of his skill, the multiple sword attacks from his burst, it's super satisfying. The Shenhe teams are cool, especially if you have C6, which I know a lot of people don't, but something about that is super satisfying, and he's not a horrible character, but he's not super intriguing either. Diluc is S tier, and I can say that without a second thought. He is the reason I play this game. His animations, his voice lines, all of it. He alone is one of the most fun characters because his slamming animation, and especially with the skin, the sound effects. You might say, well, Diluc isn't that great of a character. With the introduction of Shanyun, he got better. So now we can't say, oh, he's bad. That's not fun. Fiona is very similar in a lot of these other characters. You kind of use her shield and you swap off. She does have really cool animations, and okay, I don't know who that is. She can be used in Hyper Bloom, as well as some aggravate teams, but this character has cooldown issues. She's relying on her burst. She's not that great. Eula, I think Eula's going to be top B tier purely for the fact of she has like cool combos and her animations are clean. Yes, you're kind of locked in the same sense that I've said with a lot of these other characters, but she makes up for it in her combos, her animations. Something about hitting that big 200 number is so unbelievably satisfying. You can't just press a button and win. You have to make sure you're dodging correctly. You have to make sure you're using your skill at the proper time. There's a whole lot of stuff going into playing her that it's not as easy as some others, and therefore the skill floor being higher makes her more enjoyable for me. Official. I'm gonna put her mid B tier because she's so incredibly strong, and yes, that doesn't add necessarily into the fun factor of playing her, but she has us. Something about it is so satisfying. Quick swapping into a burst, flying around, swapping off. She's got cool animations. Her voice lines. He doesn't love Official. A physical carry with some okay. He has a couple options. Some of his animations are pretty clean, but he kind of feels a little clunky in my opinion, and that kind of drags him down a little bit. Honestly, Farzan, I think I'm gonna put her up pretty high. Something about using, even though you kind of need C6 to do a lot of the cool stuff without having to use your charge attack, her energy restoration is bad, but something about having her burst going around the room, sucking things in, giving you a huge damage boost to characters like Xiao and Wander, who are a lot of fun. She adds to that, and I have to put her somewhere semi-high off of that alone. Furina, I think easily A tier. Something about her skill and the little guys floating around and her burst, the animations and her silliness, I don't even know if I can describe for this character, but if you have played her, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Just something about her aura. Ganyu, I think I'm gonna have to put her in middle of B tier because she is kind of a charge attack bot. You can use her in freeze. Still, she struggles in the sense of being used aside from her clunky charge attacks. You can use shields. She does decent damage, but is that enough? I don't think so. Bro, I think I'm gonna put him bottom. He slams down his skill, and his burst is also kind of cool. He's the best geo buffer. So I guess if you're using Ito, he's there and he helps with that, but he himself just isn't that impactful in my opinion. Gaming, this character, if you can understand and learn how to play, he has a little tech where if you stall in the air for a second, you get more recharges on your skill and the timings line up better. Something about the plunging playstyle and the sound effects that he has and the skill gap of it is so satisfying. I think Hu Tao at C1 is probably an A tier character. Hu Tao at C0, I think, is high B tier. Yes, the jump cancel gives you the skill gap and makes it harder to play her, which I do enjoy. It's not fun running out of stamina and not being able to do damage because of that. Heizo, on-field driver, animo character, big hit. I think that's all I have to say. Jean, I think I'm gonna put middle B tier. I have been using her in a lot more teams since getting her C4, which shreds animo res, and with that, she becomes a lot more viable, as well as in Furina teams. Outside of that, she struggles to really do anything. Kaza is another A tier character. Something about his crowd control, his plunging, his burst, his animations, everything. You get his C1, you use Sacrificial Sword. Everything is just amazing in this character. Once you play him, you know exactly what I'm talking about. He is so fun. Kaya, honestly, just because it's Kaya, cool it, freeze. He has good animations. His burst is kind of, you know, use it, swap off, but there's something so satisfying about him. This character has cooldown issues and honestly, a budget Nilu, and it's just, this character had so much potential, and now after playing him, you're just kind of like, wow, you're left in utter disbelief. Kaching, one of the more fun characters because you have the set Thundering Fury you can use, which allows you to use your skill a lot more often. And this character loves using her skill. Her animations are clean. She has little teleports, self-infusion. Great character. She's kind of a shield bot, and that's really all I'm gonna say. Klee, alongside Barbara with the Shan Yun stuff, something about Klee's kit outside of Shan is incredible. She might not be the best damage-wise, but her animations, her voice lines. Who doesn't love the adorable Pyromaniac? Kokomi, middle B tier because she is kind of just a skill and swap off. You can use her on field as a driver with her burst. She does decent damage, and honestly, fish, blah, 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 blah. You know what I'm saying? So not, you know what? I'm going to change that actually. I think I'm actually going to put her higher, high B tier. Kujo, great animations, cool bursts, buffs electro characters. I think having to use your charge attack until you get constellations is not that cool, but once you get the constellation, that allows you to get it off burst, she becomes a lot better. Kuki, kind of the same as a lot of these characters. You use her skill and you swap off. She's probably the best, most affordable Hyper Bloom carry, but other than that, there's not much else going for her. Layla, honestly, I'm gonna put her somewhere up high because the way that her stars interact and they go out and her burst, it's satisfying seeing all that happening. So I think I have to put her somewhere relatively high. Lisa, with the introduction of Dendro, she's gotten a lot better, but honestly, I don't think she has much else going for her aside from an off-field burst character who does get benefits from Dendro. The potential for this character, Lynette, she's kind of like a budget Hazo, honestly. You have better characters for drivers. You have better characters for application. She just kind of lacks, and her Yolan like lock-on is cool, but it lacks in a lot of things that would make her more fun. Linny has a lot of cool animations, who has a fun interactive kit, good damage. Honestly, one of the more fun characters to play. Okay, we're gonna put you there. Nerd emoji. You kind of use your skill, use your burst, and you swap. Mona, similar, but I think I'm gonna put her a little bit higher because of the fact that her animations are so cool and because she can swim. Nahida, one of the more fun characters, and honestly pretty high on the list because of her camera opening her burst. That's like a domain expansion, right? Who doesn't want to do that?
Domain expansion. Malevolent Shrine.
It's so satisfying chaining all the enemies together, doing that tick damage continuously. As for another fun character, something about using her umbrella shotgun, kaboom, Geo, shards everywhere. I don't know. I don't have this character, but I don't need to know that she is incredibly fun and a blast. Neuvillette, another character in the S tier, easily one of the most fun. Not only is he strong, he has self-healing, great application, something about big beam go boom. You can literally spin to win. You can just do circles if you want. His animations outside of his charge attack are a little lackluster. They're kind of him just slamming something down, but it doesn't matter because everything else is so phenomenal and exceptional that he rises that far above. New teams, A, low A, high B. Something about having explosion after explosion after explosion, boom, boom, boom. Seeing enemies' health just completely disappear for no reason is so fun. And you're just like, I can make as many cores as I want. And you are going to go boom. Fun character, and I wish I had her. Ning Wang is probably high B tier because of the fact that she's able to be played in a more quick swap style, using her burst, doing a good amount of damage, swapping off, going to your other characters. Solid option. Noelle, especially with the release of Furina, is a character who has a lot more options, and I think she is quite fun. You can Beyblade, you can just normal attack. She has decent damage and big sword go burr. Who doesn't like that? Chi-Chi, honestly, she's kind of lackluster. It's kind of similar with a lot of these other characters. Raiden is easily one of the most fun characters. You can use her in Hyper Bloom. But yeah, but she's not even on field. Her eye, you know that she's there, and you see that. Her big numbers, her animations, her heavy slashing, and the booba sword. That's all I gotta say. Razor, top of B tier, similar to Noelle because you can kind of just hack and slash. He has a lot of good options, especially with his Curry team. Fun character if you build him the right way. Rosaria, kind of middle of the pack in B tier because you kind of just use her burst to swap off. She does have really cool animations, and her design is really cool. Use her in a lot of good teams that are fun themselves, so she goes pretty high. Sayu, honestly, I can't put her that high because yes, running around, rolling around, getting all those numbers is cool, but there's only so much you can do with that. If they allowed us to do more, I think it would be a lot better. We have another charge attack bot. I haven't seen enough on this character. I'm not that interested, but I don't think the way that the charge attacks work will be fun and enjoyable. Shenhe, I'm gonna put her kind of higher B tier because of the fact that she buffs and enables so many different characters. And who doesn't like big numbers? Her burst is cool. The animations are great. What more is there to not love? I'm gonna put her bottom of B tier. She basically just has a big syringe with some pills and bubbles, and you know, like, I guess it's cool. The animations are great. Don't get me wrong. It's kind of a little, maybe I could put her somewhere a little higher. Can't really say. Sucrose, I think top of A tier. Something about the grouping, grabbing everything together, all of it. It's just super satisfying. Child, also incredibly fun. One of the most satisfying characters in the game. His Riptide, especially if you get the Battle Pass bow. Grab everything in. Shangling, you're slashing everything. So much application, so much damage, cool animations. Toma, with the introduction of Dendro, he's become a lot better with Burgeon, even though those teams still struggle to find any amount of real impact. He's cool, has decent animations, has Burgeon teams, big old T-Dog. I think he's probably the best on-field Dendro, or Hyper Dendro, whatever you want to call him. His animations are quick. You go bam, bam, bam with your charge attacks. His burst, swap off, do whatever else, come back, bam, bam, bam. The wreaths encapsulating the targets, lots of damage numbers going out, satisfying. Venti, his burst is amazing, but I can't put him super high because he himself, outside of his burst, doesn't do much. Crocodile? Hey, Wanderer, I think A tier. You have the options of charge attack spamming, normal attacks with the dashes, which isn't as good. His burst is cool, a solid character. Grizzly, I think I'm gonna put him high B tier because he has the rapid hits, the combos with the charge attacks, a similar burst to Wanderer's, but he lacks something that Wanderer has, and it's flying. That's what it is. I got nothing else. Shangling, top of B tier, and I know I regret what I said last time. She is super fun, and her teams are super good, but she herself, I don't know. You kind of use her burst, maybe Golba, you swap off. Is it cool? Does she do a lot of damage? Yes, but I think that's all I can say for that. Shan Yun herself, I think, is a B tier character, but the teams that she enables with your Dilucs, your Barbaras, your Neuvillettes, whoever it may be, she makes those characters way more fun. So I think I'll put her top of B tier. Xiao, A tier. I like the up and down, the plunging, the skill gap of crowd controlling everything into that one location. Super satisfying in my opinion. Xingqiu, top of B tier, bottom A tier. Something about his rain swords coming out, his skill slashes, super satisfying character, and I use him in so many teams. Honestly, if she had different infusion on some of her stuff, it'd be a lot better. She has a cool shield. That's really it. Decently fun character. Yai, even though she can get stunned out of her turrets, she has insane animations, so incredibly unique, and her bursts, the sound effects, all of it comes together so incredibly nice. Yanfei is similar to Ning Wang in the sense that she has cool animations. She's a good 4-star character in terms of meta. Honestly, quite fun. Yao Yao, who doesn't like a million explosions? You're sprinting, you're jumping, whatever it may be. And Yugui, how can you not like that? Now, isn't that just Xingqiu as a 5-star? No. Yulan Natlan is more fun because you have her skill to go around, chain everything, and her animations, they're so clean. Yoimiya, top of B tier, she has cool animations. She's adorable, but she is kind of just a normal attack spam character. Middle to bottom of B tier for Yunjin because of the fact that all she has is her parry, and then she's basically just a burst and swap off. There's no cool animation, there's no whatever. She gets some rally flags, and that's it. Zhongli, bottom of A tier. This character is one of the best in the game, but that's not why he's up here on this list. He has a cool animation with his skill, dropping the pillar, his burst, the meteor. I will have order. Kaboom. You're frozen. You can't move. Guess what? Insanely fun character.